planet.
Hmm.
And so all this was being downloaded and given to us during the gestation period, primarily, so that we would have the best possible information and library, if you will, with which to help this little one start its life on Gaia.
Mm-hmm. Would a female over the course of her life have, say, a half dozen young ones, or more or less than a number like that?
Well, not all females would give birth while they were here.
Mm-hmm.
There were a handful that were, we will use the word chosen to do that, because there were many avenues that someone that a dragon born on this planet could have, and depending on who the parents were, who the collective of the dragons were, because there were a few different let's say physical collectives in as far as our DNA and so forth on the planet at those given times. So it would depend on what we were here to teach it as to what avenue it would find itself on, which of course would be similar to what the parents were doing. Some of us, as we said, chose to reach out to humankind at the time, with not such great results. There were the odd few humans, as we said, that would kind of steal away to find us, so because they knew that we had something to offer from a communication point of view. I mean, they knew this consciously. I mean, a lot of what, as we said before, a lot of what was given to humans when we were here was unconscious to them, or subconscious to them, however you want to term that. But there were very few humans that consciously wanted to connect with us, because they knew that there was something that we had to offer that they wanted to understand, they wanted to be a part of, they wanted to learn about. And so those individuals would seek us out, and energetically we would seek them out, and sometimes physically, so that we could have interaction with those individuals. And not often, but rarely, but sometimes, we would actually show the human our young, not the very young, but as the young started to age, a number of, I don't know, 10, well, not 10 years, maybe 50 years or something, we would introduce our young to these humans, and they would have a conversation with them, and as would we, from their perspective and from our perspective. And it helped us also to come to an understanding of what that particular individual human was going through, and also they could tell us how life was for them. And most of them, well, we would say all of them that we first saw, would not go back and report this to anybody, any other human, because they knew that it was bad news. They would be ostracized. They might even be killed for it. So they just brought their stories, their individual and stories about their life to us, and we shared ours with them.
Somewhat like I'm not gonna run and tell everybody about this conversation. It's just yet anyway.
Sorry?
It's somewhat like I'm not going to run and tell everybody about this conversation.
Right.
At least not just yet.
Yes.
When the dragons were physical around the time of Arthur, so about how many of them would there have been?
Well,
In the physical?
you see, we were in the physical in Gaia as well as on her. So on her, where humans might, well, humans wouldn't even see all of us, but physically on the planet, there were a few thousand.
Hmm.
But as we said, a lot of places that we were in the physical were not places that were populated by humans at that time.
Mhm. Were you physical on other planets at all?
Yes, there have been a few where we have been physical. We we tend to be more energetic, definitely, than the physical. And we can present physically differently other places that we go. Of course, other places wouldn't necessarily call us dragons. Of course, different languages on your planet wouldn't call us dragons. So yes, we have been physical other places, and again, it's mostly for the experience of having a physical body and what that entails and what we can learn from doing the physical piece. It is not easy to be physical for a lot of collectives, a lot of beings. It takes a lot of energy and very different kind of energy to we don't want to say lower ourselves, because that sounds like a hierarchy, but to shift our vibration so that we can become physical.
Yes, other beings have told me the same thing. Yes, definitely. Now, we had the pleasure of meeting Sam as a baby who was running around the hills of Scotland a little bit, unbeknownst to his mother, I think, some of the time. Are there any dragons in the physical on Earth at this time? Now, maybe if there are, I shouldn't disclose that, or any readers would be out chasing them.
Well, yes, but some, oh dear, some of these dragons are not solely on the earth. They can reside within the earth as well. Whether that be a mountain or deep in the earth in the tunnels of Gaia, that is, and we can come to the surface. Just one moment. Sorry. So, sorry, just remind us again what your question was. How many?
Yeah, are there dragons in the physical now on the Earth? And I guess I should include in the Earth.
Yes, there are. Again, because these times are different, obviously, from the Dark Ages and King Arthur and so forth, but there would still be, if we presented ourselves in the physical to almost all humans, there would still be that fear factor,
Mhm.
which is why a lot of the ET collectives, as you call them, have not been here in the physical. Why so very few humans have ever seen any physicality of the collectives.
Mhm.
And so it's going to take some time before that will change.
Yes.
And it's not for us, it's not really about being physical. It's, I mean, as far as you are concerned, down the road, it will be somewhat more so. But right now, it is more about humans understanding that our energy is on the planet and that we are here for ascension purposes and to help, like so many other collectives, to guide you in this whole process and your individual journeys as well as your collective ones, and to help you to realize that how much you you need to understand your collective roots and to understand how to work collectively, which is really what the ascension is about. It's understanding your individual journey and where each individual soul fits into the collective, and that there is a collective to fit into, because for a lot of you, there really isn't a whole lot of understanding about even that yet. And so this is, with so many others, what we are here to help to impart, that knowledge, ancient knowledge of old, that we are all one, and that whatever we can do to help you to understand that, to embed that in your cells, and to it's very hard for us to try and describe this in English. It's trying to collect all those cells of the collective, and at the same time help you all as individuals to understand how you are bound collectively, energetically, spiritually, one to the other, cell to cell, person to person, culture to culture. I mean, it's hard enough for you to try and understand how to the scope of that on Gaia, never mind how you connect to the rest of the universe. And we are all connected. So this is what we are hoping to help you with as things unfold down here.
What specific steps are you taking to do that? I'm not aware that I'm getting any inputs or lessons or nudges along those lines, although I have to say I've been progressing in the sense of acquiring broader knowledge and maybe deeper knowledge. But I'm wondering, are there some specific steps you can identify that are helping humans in the ascension process that you are doing?
Well, there's a couple of different routes. I mean, as so many collectives, we were working through you in the dream time, in the sleep time and the dream time, which, you know, aren't one and the same. But there are so many levels of your consciousness, not only the sleep and dream time, but the consciousness when you are consciously awake. There are so many levels that we can and are inputting on. It's like, okay, we're trying to think of an analogy here. It's kind of like a beehive. You've got all those separate cells that each bee can go in and out of. And except that they're all different levels of consciousness.